Thank you. That's a little morning lift. Yeah, thanks. Well, good morning and welcome to Unity Spiritual Center of Lansing here at the new Unity campus as we are breaking in and making it becoming our new home. Here at Unity, our mission is for each of us individually and collectively to awaken to our spiritual oneness with God, each other, and all creation. And that comes out of our vision of seeing a world that is powerfully transformed through a growing movement of a shared spiritual awakening. And we say shared as opposed to the right and perfect path, because we know there isn't such a thing as the right and perfect path. We honor ourselves and each other wherever we are on our path and whatever path we happen to be on in this moment. So we'd like to begin our service with this ecumenical prayer as we affirm the enlightenment of the Buddha shines within us. The compassion of the Christ moves through us. The power of Jehovah strengthens and guards us. The presence of Allah surrounds and guides us. Wherever we are, the Tao is, and all is God. Well, it's been another one of those weeks. You know, it's just become more and more conscious of what's happening all over the world. You know, this week that we had the verdict in the Chauvin trial, we got talking about accountability, and yet police shootings continue in our country, which I know touches most of our hearts in very sad and heavy ways. And at the same time, do you know that every minute there are 250 new people born in the United States? Every minute. By the end of this service, hundreds more. The Asian hate crimes continue to be showing up in our society. It's very low key, but it's happening. It's happening. Unfortunately, I don't want to get into any of that. And yet at the same time, the United States is stepping forward to make new climate goals so that we can reduce the harm that we are doing to planet Earth. And then I saw where there was a couple in California, a couple who both received heart transplants. So they went back to the hospital this week and planted a tree of life, because that's truly the gift that they were given. And you know that right now we are in the middle of Ramadan. This is a Muslim religious observation. It goes on for a month. This year it happens to be from April 12th to May 12th. And during that time they fast during the day, during light hours, and then there's a feasting that happens after dark. It's one of the religious pillars of their faith. So we have a week, we have a world that has its ups and downs, its joys and celebrations, as well as its griefs and sadness. So it's so important that we consciously take some time apart from the world to do the work that we have to do in our inner world. So we're going to take a moment to begin doing that right now as we join together in a prayer to bless our neighbors, those close and those far. We pray with understanding and compassion in our hearts, in our minds, in our intentions, knowing that divine light always shines, even in the darkest moments. We bless our medical community, our essential workers who continue to do such remarkable work to support us during this time, and especially during our times of need. We bless those in grief, whatever their loss, knowing that God within them is their strength. As you look out upon the worldly things, we lift our gaze to remember our oneness, our unity, our humanity. Centered in God's presence within, we know the truth for each and every person, every living thing on this planet. We know that we are all guided by wisdom, arising in love, as we act in ways that foster peace and wholeness for all. And as we hold those prayerful thoughts, we continue by holding this community, which is you and I, Unity Spiritual Center of Lansing, in a blessing prayer, affirming that Unity Spiritual of Lansing embraces its journey of spiritual growth. We bless our times of wandering and wondering and gnashing of teeth. We give thanks that each path that ended redirected our attention to a new path of bountiful blessings. We are right now living as a greater expression of love, a force for good in our neighborhood and in our own lives. We are receptive to the handprint of God guiding us to a greater understanding, to fields of unlimited possibilities, to new opportunities to be a meaningful light shining in our world. And so it is. Allah, Shalom, Namaste, Amen. And now we come to a time of the service we used to call Reach Out and Touch, and now it's Reach Out and Don't Touch, because we are being safe for everybody. So I just invite you to practice a little Namaste. Namaste, Linda. Namaste, Greg. Or the other kind of fun thing is, you just kind of rub your hands together, just take a breath into your heart and let it shine out of your hands and just send that energy to each other. So I can send it to you. We can send it to you right over the airwaves. That's what's wonderful. There is, we don't have to be close. We're in that same place to connect at the very deepest level. So fully connected, I'm going to turn it over to Greg.
Thanks, Reverend Sharon. I'm Greg Denning. I'll be assisting with the service this morning. And today's daily word is thankful, inspired by Paul's letter to his followers in Thessalonica. Give thanks in all circumstances, for this is the will of God, the Christ presence within you. We need no special reason to be thankful, no list of blessings to inspire gratitude. Reverend Eric Butterworth wrote, "One can be grateful with the same spontaneity as being happy. It simply flows forth from within and becomes a causative energy." With a thankful mind and heart, we release worry and frustration, trusting that our every need will be met. We discover more of God's presence in ourselves and others everywhere we go. We see possibilities for good, even in challenging circumstances. Eager to share our thankfulness, we welcome opportunities to be of service to others, just as we gratefully accept blessings shared with us. We live in the flow of life, love, peace, and abundant beauty. We are thankful. Let us affirm thankfulness in our heart's natural expression. Thankfulness is my heart's natural expression. Each month we highlight and focus on one of our ministry's core values. This month we have focused on spiritual awakening as we continue our process of making this place our new church home. As we collectively move through these most remarkable times of a world pandemic, we are gifted with time to explore our personal core beliefs more deeply than ever before. We may find our values shifting to a deeper understanding of what is really important to living a life worth living. Our appreciation for the simple things in life may grow in a major transformation of our understanding of our interactions with all life on this planet as interaction of spirit through our human form. We may find ourselves recognizing that spirit is indeed working through us in constant and loving ways to bring about a more harmonious human experience. We express our spiritual nature through positive relationships with others and in service to the movement of a shared spiritual awakening. And we seek to experience and live from a state of conscious oneness with God, each other, and all creation. So let's affirm that together. We seek to experience and live from a state of conscious oneness with God, each other, and all creation. And today we are coming to you by live streaming from our new sanctuary on Washington Road. While the building is still closed to meeting, we continue to offer classes on Zoom. Mondays at 1:30 we have A Course of Love with Lucille Olson. Wednesdays at 6:00 p.m. is our prayer circle with Peggy Higginbotham. Thursdays at 7:00 p.m., A Course in Miracles with Dan and Carol Maynard. Mondays through Fridays, the Zoom room is open to everyone for Conversation Cafe, an informal time to see some other faces and talk about whatever comes up. Again, the Zoom link can be found at the USCL Facebook page or contact the church office. One team that is still very active is our prayer team. If you have prayer requests, you can make them on our website, email the church office, or make a request at our Wednesday night prayer service. And now I'd like to invite up our special soloist for this week, Linda Abar.
Hello, everyone. When I asked Sharon via Facebook Messenger what her topic was, and she said faith and trust, I put that in the meditation hopper. And coming out of meditation, I don't know, something came up about believing. I had to believe, and when you believe came to mind. And then after that, in my walk in the woods, I thought about, because that's from Prince of Egypt, and then wade in the water just popped in. I just smashed them together, and this is what came out. Many nights we prayed with no proof anyone could hear. In our hearts a hopeful song we barely understood. We are not afraid, although we know there's much to fear. We were moving mountains long before we knew we could. There can be miracles when you believe, though hope is frail, it's hard to kill. Who knows what miracles you can achieve when you believe? Somehow you will when you believe. In this time of fear, when prayers so often proved in vain, hope seemed like a summer bird too swiftly flown away. But now I'm standing here with hearts so full I can't explain, seeking faith and speaking words I never thought I'd say. There can be miracles when you believe, though hope is frail, it's hard to kill. Who knows what miracles you can achieve when you
Oh, thank you, Linda. I got a little feedback that your mic was low. Was it on?
It's on.
It's on.
It's green.
Okay,
Oh,
it's green.
light.
Well, we'll work on that.
Okay.
Wow. I thought it was wonderful. I got to hear everything sitting here. We're learning. We are learning. Thank you for patience with us. And thanks for feedback. That's really helpful out there as you're live streaming with us. You know, I don't know about you, but I have found that as we're into this pandemic, you know, I remember at the beginning, 2 weeks seemed a long time to shut down. And then we gradually stretched our mind to 2 months, and then 6 months. And somehow it seemed that a year would be the max. And now as we're past a year, I've just been feeling kind of off, kind of weird. And I read an article about this week that just hit the nail on the head. You know, it's not that you're in burnout, because you still have some energy, and you're not depressed, you don't feel hopeless, but this seems like a little less joy, just a little less excitement, a little bit of aimlessness. And the word that I came up with was languishing. And I realized that I do experience that languishing because there's so many things that I want to do that I can't, like seeing families in other countries and travel and stuff. And there's just been a shift in my life, and I expect that you may have been experiencing some of these too. When we're languishing, it's that sense of stagnating a bit, kind of an emptiness, kind of muddling through things. You know, when you try to look out your car and it's foggy, you can't quite see clearly. And probably would not be uncommon if that was the common emotion for 2021. So that's why it's so important as we go through these things emotionally, as well as physically and spiritually, that we do have a spiritual toolbox, something that we can rely on to help us move through this. So, our spiritual toolbox, my dirty yellow box back here that's been beat up and well used, really operates on a basic premise that there's only one power and presence in the world, whatever you might call it. And we've been looking at some of the spiritual tools. We talked about gratitude as a vibrational magnet for the universe. When we appreciate things, things are drawn into our experience. And we talked about imagination, which is this wonderful creative power of our mind that sets things in motion to happen, you know, being very clear that we get to choose what we imagine, because we can imagine the awfuls as well as the excellence. And last week we talked about kindness, this wonderful tool of triple energy, because as soon as we are kind, it sets off all those feel-good emotions in our own mind. And the person that receives our kindness gets the same kind of endorphin response. And then the bonus kind of blessing in the whole thing was, if we plan an act of kindness, it actually reduces body stress. So this is a great spiritual tool because it blesses us in so many different ways. Last week also, too, we touched on ecology, our ecosystem. It was Earth Day on Thursday, and we all share this beautiful planet together. And just, you know, the whole word of ecology is about the interaction of organisms. And that includes us as humans. We are an ecosystem. We have our own system. So to be aware and to be conscious of the ecosystem, the relationships that we are in with other humans, with our planet, with our animals, all those things. Now, I hope after last week all of you stopped eating rocks. That was those things that we do that aren't any help at all, but we just keep doing it. And maybe some of you thought about the Potawatomi language, that English is mainly nouns, but Potawatomi uses things as verbs. So it's not Sharon, it's speaking, spirit as speaking, showing up as Sharon. It's not the tree moving in the wind, it's the movement of the wind showing up as the tree, the movement of spirit showing up as the tree. And some of you may have even taken a little dab at listing for the secret names of people you love, people that you're close to, secret names of your tree, your pets, or maybe even your own secret name, kind of listening to that still small voice within you. So today we're going to get another tool. It's one of my favorite tools. When all else fails, this is the one I like to go to. It's trust. And the tool that I use to remind me for that is my God can. When I can't, God can. So, yeah, just a simple thing. A little God can. So, I think I get to this point when my life feels like it's a puzzle and somebody stole one of the pieces. There's something missing, things that just aren't fitting together right. And there's a wonderful proverb that says, trust in God with all your heart and lean not into your own understanding. That's the hard part. Lean not into my own understanding. Because sometimes I just really want to know. I want to know the answers. And I keep running up against that wall. And I just really have to let it go. We acknowledge that spirit universe is in all things and moving through all things, and allow ourselves to be guided, to be directed by that universal power, that one power and presence. Amazing things that can happen that are well beyond our own understanding. And I think one of the most visual examples in my mind is in this great Bible story in the Old Testament, which the Old Testament has lots of actions, and they don't have guns, but they have a lot of other instruments of maim and destruction. And there's this guy called Gideon, and he had an army, and he was leading it into the land of the Midians, and he had to overcome the Midians, and they were pretty ferocious adversaries. And so he's got his army together. He's feeling pretty good. He's got 22,000 men, and they're about ready to take over the Midian camp. And he gets this guidance from God. He goes, that's too many soldiers. He says, if the soldiers go in there and they're able to wipe out the Midians, they'll think they did it because of themselves, that they themselves were so strong they just overcame. They will just forget that God's working through them. He says, so I want you to go out and ask your soldiers who's afraid, and whoever is afraid, tell them to go home. So he did that, and he lost over half of his army. There was 10,000 left. He's getting a little nervous about this. He doesn't understand how this is going to help to win there with a smaller army. God says, there's still too many. Yeah, okay, here's what I want you to do. Take your soldiers down to the river. Wading in the river, Linda. And he says, get a drink, and watch how they drink. And some of your soldiers are going to go right down there, and they're going to be next to the water, and they're just going to lap it up, just like a dog. They will just immerse themselves in that water and get a big drink. But some of them will actually scoop their hand down into the water, be looking around and taking a drink. So depending on how they drink, I want you to divide them. If they're lappers, go over that way. If they cup their hands, go over that way. He said because those that get down and lap like a dog, they're not aware of what's around. They're not attuned to what's going around. But those that cup their hands, they are very aware of their intention of what's happening around them in their environment. So all the 10,000 soldiers came down to the river to drink, wading in the water. And at the end of it, there was only 300 of the 10,000 that used their hands to cup the water to their mouth. So God said, send those other ones home, the other 9,700, and you're left with this wonderful army of 300. Now, Gideon's a little nervous at this point, and they're about ready to go into battle. That night he has this dream, and he has this dream of a barley loaf rolling down the hill into the Midian camp and knocking the tent over, and the tent just collapsed and destroyed him. So he went to one of his seers and said, what does this dream mean? And he goes, it means you're going to win. Well, he felt a little better about that, but boy, he could not, with his own understanding, understand how 300 men were going to overcome. So he did get a little bit of instruction. See, it's not just about listening to letting go, but also listening to that guidance that tells us where to go next. So he was told to give each of his soldiers a trumpet, and to give each of his soldiers a pitcher with a lit torch within. And they went down to the Midian camp, and they shouted for God and for Gideon. They made this great amount of noise. Well, what happened was, it so confused the Midians, they scrambled, and this man scrambled. It's the middle of the night. They thought there was a lot more soldiers than there were, and they all left and ran away, and Gideon did win the battle. Okay, so kind of a fun story, kind of an interesting story, kind of a curious story. until you get to the metaphysics of it. And Gideon, the word Gideon literally means impetuous warrior. In other words, that movement that just goes forward without too much thought. Metaphysically, what the Gideon is our ability to do the prayer of denials. When we deny something, we don't deny that it exists, we deny that it has power over us. And we don't give it a lot of thought. You don't want to dwell on what you don't want. So denial is that impetuous warrior within us that just says, doesn't impact me. That may be what's happening, but it doesn't have any power over me. Just that quick, off-the-cuff kind of thing. And Midian, the enemy, literally means they were a quarrelsome people. And within ourselves, our Midians might be those quarrelsome thoughts we have, our jealousies, uncharitable thoughts. Not nice thoughts, those thoughts we don't want to speak out loud because we're embarrassed even to have them. But even though those thoughts do flow through our minds, we have the choice of saying, thought has no power. You know, sometimes I like to play with numbers, and I realized that Gideon's army went from 22,000 to 300. That's 1.3%. And the amount of thoughts that go through our mind in the day, most of them, quite frankly, are not the best, most powerful, most creative thoughts we ever had. Excuse me, but all we need is 1.3% of our thoughts to be good, and we can overcome the uglies that have a tendency to filter through in our background. Denial of the power of those thoughts, because we have an army of thought power, of discrimination. We know the thoughts that will create more harmony within our lives and within our world. We know the thoughts that will do good as opposed to doing harm. And what happened as they went into Midian, actually he had to divide this little tiny army of 300 men into 3 different groups to go in different ways, which is why the Midians thought they were surrounded. But the 3 for us represents body, mind, and spirit. It never just happens to us in the body. It never just happens to us in our mind and heart. It never just happens to us in our spiritual sense. It is about all 3 working together to carry us on, to lift us up out of languishing feelings, out of whatever challenge might be in front of us at the time. And trust is such a funny word. Think about, who do you trust? I trust doctors. We trust pharmacists to give me whatever pill the doctor said I should take, even though I know nothing about them. I mean, think about the faith you have taking that pill or picking up a bottle of aspirin. You know, you trust that what's in there is safe. I trust the post office. I really do, to bring stuff in the mail. I trust the phone that when I pick it up and dial a number, I'm going to reach the person I expect to reach, or if I text them. I kind of trust newscasters, but we have these human levels of trust that we go through. And trust, you know, in the human level, has a beginning, middle, and sometimes it has an end. We don't just automatically trust people, we build trust. We trust doctors because we've been told as a child that they will help us. And then we go to them and they do help us, and so that trust kind of builds. And then sometimes somebody lets us down. They get it wrong, or whether intentional or unintentional, and that trust breaks. You know, we've all had friends that have let us down at the really worst time of all. So you have these plans, you have this great trust, and then somehow it comes to an end, it breaks. And last night, I had one of those situations where we've been moving ahead really well in this building. We've been doing things to, 1, get our occupancy permit, and 2, to make it handicap accessible on all levels. And we just have one small area where we need a handicap ramp to come in so anybody with mobility challenges can get to it. And for 2 months now, Chris McInhill's been working on it, and she did all kinds of research to make sure we got the best. We talked to those people that had mobility challenges to get their input. And then last night, we found out the contractor that we had decided would be the perfect one to do it walked away. He decided he couldn't do it. He was frustrated on getting the concrete contractor in. Poof, it's gone. Oh, what a breach of trust. And when that trust is broken, like you had this relationship. We've been working with him now for a couple months. and he's waiting for this or that, and we were just going with the flow on it. And it's just like, you're just exhausted when that happens. You've invested so much. Why isn't this moving forward? I mean, just wow, where do you go from here? Other than throwing a few plates or saying a few choice words or stomping your feet or whatever that might be for you. And I've found that when trust is broken, there's really, for me, a call for action. That, okay, all my plans didn't do it. I need to find a way to really get my trust into the divine, into the universe. It says call for action to make a shift. And to make that shift, you need to state your desire clearly. You know, a lot of times things don't manifest in our life because we're not exactly clear what we want. We don't even have kind of the essence. We just want it different. And you know, you can't call up Sears and order something different. You don't go to Shipt and say, bring me something different to eat this week. You have to be kind of specific. So we have to say what. So I know for me, what is accessibility to all parts of our building for everyone. That's the what. And the why is because one of our core values is inclusivity. That we want our building to be usable by anybody who wishes to come in here. So trust is that tool to get unstuck. You know, from that disappointment, oh, come on, this isn't fair. We've been working on this really hard. We have done nothing wrong. Why is this happening to us? You know, we were in this neat, tidy little box, and last night it just got crushed. And boy, at this point, there's nothing you can do that's beneficial to the situation or to yourself, but to stop the struggle, to let go, and don't think about it. Yeah, don't think of the pink elephant in the room. Just let it go, because, you know, there is not a time that we haven't struggled with finding the answer, finding the way, and then we got refocused on something else. And as you're doing whatever, it could be cooking dinner, it could be digging in the yard, it could be, you know, walking your pets, and all of a sudden back here, this idea pops up and goes, ta-da! And you go, oh, why did I think of that earlier? It was so obvious. But sometimes our focus to do it ourselves, like having 22,000 people win the battle, of course we did it ourselves. We didn't need God for this one. But we finally let go to allow those divine ideas to flow in. And it turns up to be so obvious. So put it to the test, put it in the God can. So I did write ramp on this because I don't know what we're going to do next. And I'm going to put it in the God can. Now, the really critical thing about a God can is once it's in there, there's no way to get it out. I have a little feather here too in there. I mean, that comes in and out. But the thing doesn't. It's gone. I don't have to know. I am ready to receive whatever instructions come my way on that, and that's it. That's trust. That is the thing that, spiritual tool that helps us get through these really frustrating situations that make you want to grit your teeth. And when we move from human trust, expecting a behavior from humanness, into spiritual trust. See, very often we attribute the character of humans to this character of the divine, when that is not it at all. So it's a really also good time to remind ourselves, trusting the divine does not have a beginning, middle, and end. It is a continuous flow through our life. It's an activity that we can choose to activate all the time within us, knowing that all things work out in a divine solution at perfect timing according to the bigger picture. I mean, I know a lot of times it's not according to my calendar. I can put it on my Google Calendar all I want. Doesn't mean it's actually going to be finished then or going to happen to be then. So as I stand here today, what I am really excited about is seeing how God's going to work this out. Because I have no idea at all. And when we take those kind of attitudes, when we trust that there is a greater answer, sometimes even an easier answer, you know, we pull up that cup to our mouth to drink that water, aware of all that is around us, taking that pause that refreshes. So right around with trust comes that divine power of faith. And I know I got a faith tool back here. Faith is the rock on which I built my church. Faith is that foundation. And I got this gift of this wonderful rock this week. Elizabeth Kuhn, who was here last week singing, she does little rocks. She paints them. And on the back, it's a little love rock. And that rock, as solid as it is, that's what the idea of faith is, that it's something that we can depend on, we can stand on, that is not going to give way. And I found that as my spiritual trust increases, my faith deepens. And as my faith deepens, I find I'm a little less stressed, a little more relaxed, knowing that I really don't have to do it all. My ego tells me, yeah, Sharon, you do need to do it all. It's all your responsibility, and make sure you carry the world straight on your shoulders. Some of you might have that going on too from time to time. But the quote that I love is that fear knocked at the door, faith answered, no one was there. When we really immerse ourselves in that faith, there is nothing to fear. There may be things that we don't like that we're going to experience. There may be disappointments that we're going to experience. But we don't need to be fearful, because ultimately we know there's a higher good that is operating. It is. And it says in Hebrews, faith is the assurance of things hoped for, the conviction of things not seen. Because we know that everything starts in the unseen and the invisible and comes into manifestation in our world through our ideas, our thoughts, and our actions. So there is a relationship between fact and faith that sometimes gets mixed up. So I can tell you that right now there are X number of people watching our live stream. I can tell you that. If I ask Michael back there, he might be able to see how many people are there. That's a fact, how many people. And the fact that I'm standing right here at the Unity campus at 2395 Washington Road, this is a fact. Now, if you want to get into faith, I actually believe that some of you are listening to me. That's faith. There's no fact on that one. We all go for it. We do our things. We do them because they make us happy, whatever. And yeah, we just have the faith that somebody's being blessed by that. So the rock, the faith, is one of our 12 divine faculties. We get to choose where we invest it. We can invest it in the good stuff. We can invest it in the scary stuff. We get that choice, just like we do with imagination. And deepening that faith is really the baby steps that allow us to grow spiritually, to grow ecologically within our environment of our humanness. So we might have a life that is peace-filled, because instead of telling spirit how big our problems are, we tell our problems how big our spirit is, and that great relationship with spirit. So as we move into meditation, I'm going to share with you an old Unity hymn and poem. So I'm going to invite you to get ready for that by just, wherever you are there, just take a deep breath, relax into the moment. Maybe allow your eyes to close and just shake your fingers out. Let any stress go. Allow yourself to be kind to your body in this moment. Breathing deeply. Trusting that as you exhale, the next breath is right there waiting for you. You have that faith of the power of life within you. Another deep breath as I invite you to hear the words that I speak as words of your own heart. God is my help in every need. God does my every hunger feed. God walks beside me, guides my way through every moment of the day. Deep breath. I am now wise. I am now true, patient, kind, and loving too. All things I am, can do, and be through Christ, the truth that lives in me. God is my health. I can't be sick. God is my strength, unfailing quick. God is my all. I know no fear, since God and love and truth are here. As you rest in the quietness of all the power of the silence within you, feel and know the presence of Spirit. God is with you, within you, at this very moment, surrounding you as your help in whatever your present need might be. For every hunger of your life, God is the ultimate source flowing through you through many channels, that you might be satiated with the love. God is walking ahead of you, beside you, behind you, as you, guiding your way. In this instant, in this moment, in the time that is yet to unfold. You are wise, with a wisdom deep within you. You find a patience knowing that everything is unfolding in God time. You have a kindness and a love that is flowing through you that is absolutely divine. You know at the deepest core of your being that all things are possible to you because of God within you. That Christed consciousness, the ultimate truth, the activity that is taking place in your life. There is a health inside of you that is beyond human health, beyond the outer conditions, that measurement of physical expectations. It is the health of the universe. The strength inside of you that is making you strong is so unfailing, for it is continuous and it is instant, upon demand. You realize that everything you want in this life is there at hand from God as your breath. You realize that God is not far off, but right here, your present help and every need. So I invite you into the silence to feel it, to imbue it, to connect with it, to deepen your faith. As we continue to breathe, I invite you to allow the music to deepen your heart, to deepen your faith, to increase your trust.
Stand here right now, the warm spring sun. I feel stand here with a quiet mind, heart wide open, giving these gifts to you to set myself free. I will let you empty me and fill me again. I will let you empty me and fill me. I stand here with an empty mind, so wide open. I'll receive these gifts from you and set myself free. I trust you. I trust you. I will let you empty me and fill me again. I will let you empty me and fill me. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and
Oh, namaste. Thank you so much. I can feel you all floating with us at home as you've gone into this. So if you're reaching a challenge right now, trust in the process. Use your faith to know that you're not alone. So inhale, exhale. I know you've got this because God's got you covered. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Greg.
Thank you. Linda, that was just wonderful. So now is the time we celebrate our abundance, both as a community and for each of us individually. Our new building has presented us with several opportunities to rise up to meet unexpected expenses. So it is especially important that we celebrate our prosperity as we continue to prepare our building to fulfill its destiny. Allow the words I speak to be the words of our own heart. We join efforts in thought, prayer, and action to increase our source of earthly abundance to meet all the needs of our spiritual home and personal needs. We bless the gifts that have been given and the gifts we are about to receive, and so it is. Amen. And thanks to each of you who continue to so generously support this ministry during this extraordinary time. We are very grateful for the love offerings this community has received from all the members of this community, both online and through the mail. We are a tithing congregation, and it's with great joy that we share a portion of our tithes. The first quarter, we tithed $921.46 to the Firecrackers Foundation, supporting their work with abused youth. Our congregants' choice for the second quarter is the Greater Lansing Food Bank. They have done such a remarkable job responding to huge demands during this pandemic. We thank them for their selfless work and know that our gift will go forth to do great things. Even as we give thanks for the gifts that have blessed our Unity community, let us take a moment to celebrate the gifts that have blessed our lives personally. We get to practice that spiritual tool of gratitude, as well as increase our trust and deepen our faith as we acknowledge our many blessings. Whatever we have been blessed with this week, let us take a moment to express our deep appreciation for the love, the kindness, the support, the trust as we affirm divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. I praise, give thanks, and am glad. And now let us join together in our closing song, I Choose Love, followed by the prayer of protection.
You know, just a minute before we start that, I got to tell you about these prosperity blessings. When I came in today, I checked the mail. I didn't get it yesterday. In there was 2 checks from, you will never guess, and we're talking over $3,000. You'll never guess from whom? The United States government. I don't know what they're for. I'm not questioning it. I'm just cashing it. So you never know. Just keep the, whatever our needs are, the universe has supplied us every time.
That's amazing.
Isn't it? I thought it was too.
Peace in my life is growing because I choose love. Love's always present, it's what we're made of. I choose love.
Want to come up and sing?
We are a part of each other. We are one choice
Unite
united.
us, it can't be undone. I choose love. Peace on our planet is growing because I choose love. Let love be present,
It's what
we're made of. I choose love. We are a part of each other. We are one. One choice unites us. Let this be the one. I choose love. I choose love. I choose love.
The light of God surrounds us.
The
love of God
enfolds us. The
Power of God protects us.
The presence of God is within us.
Wherever we are, God is, and
All is well. Exceptionally well. Yeah. Okay. See y'all next week. What are we going out on, guys? Long ago and far away.